Please be seated. Good morning and welcome. My name is John Voss. I'm a principal of Jupiter Energy Advisors and a warden of Camp 1. I'm pleased to act as the senior supervising engineer for today's obligation ceremony. I'd like to introduce my fellow wardens seated here who will be assisting today. I would ask each to rise as I introduce them. On my far left, John Kelly, Manager, Gardner Rehabilitation, City of Toronto. Marissa Sterling, Past President, Professional Engineers, Ontario. Robert Black, Vice President, Nuclear Joint Venture. Irina Arsene, Director, Project Management and Site Construction, York University Development Corporation. Frank Teddy, General Manager, Canadensis Aerospace. And Réjean Amy, Past President, Professional Engineers, Foundation for Education. On my right, Kate Pierce, Founder, Right and Left. Karen Moorhead, Quality Assurance Director, Supply Chain, Can-Do Energy, Inc. Manraj Hanu, Principal Process Engineer, Capital One. And James Goal, Retired HTS Engineering Sales. Sorry, I missed Susan Eastwood. Retired HTS Engineering Sales, and James Goal, Senior Director of Technical Standards at Qualcomm. The obligation ceremony includes the use of several ancient landmarks. The anvil and hammer are used to signal the beginning and the end of the ceremony, reminding us of the strength of materials and the fact that they will inevitably fail you. The ceremony is open and closed by 7 strokes on cold iron in dedication to the 7 past presidents of the Engineering Institute of Canada, who were instrumental in founding the original ceremony. The strokes are timed to symbolize the driving home of a rivet. The chains, which you will hold while reciting the obligation, are all linked together and attached to the anvil. They are intended to remind us of the spirit among engineers, the connection to each other, and our connection to the world around us. Prior to reciting the obligation, you will be instructed to lay hand on cold iron. This is an instruction for you to pick up the chain and hold it in your working hand. After reciting the obligation, you will be instructed to loose hold, at which point you should carefully place the chain back on the floor. In addition to these landmarks, each camp has obtained artifacts from meaningful engineering projects in Canada. At today's ceremony, the hatch cover from the Ocean Ranger, an offshore jet that capsized in 1982 off the coast. Although it was built to withstand the world's stormiest seas, it capsized during a storm, taking the lives of all 84 workers on board. In a moment, Warden Kate Pierce will read a poem commissioned for the 100th anniversary of the calling of an engineer in 1925. In the poem entitled The Hand That Wears the Ring, Gisela Hippolt Square captures the obligations, expertise, and honor that defined engineers as they serve and enhance society for the benefit of all.
The hand that wears the ring. Your lifelong journey starts today. A shining path reveals the way, laid down by those who came before, from nearby lands and distant shores. Your destiny will now take wing, proud the hand that wears the ring. With visions bright and thoughts set free, a world awaits where you will see the facets of your labor's art reflect the dreams within your heart. Through innovation, futures spring. Skillful the hand that wears the ring. Yet lightly step upon this course, speak not with bluster, nor with force. Observe with spirit, heart, and mind, all ways of knowing you will find. Authentic words should never sting. Humble the hand that wears the ring. Beware demands that often lead to bridging over want and need. Each compromise a step too far that blurs the line of who you are. Your public duty sets the bearing, true the hand that wears the ring. Integrity must be your guide. Let ethics temper misplaced pride. Dishonor cannot know your face, as deeds shall leave a lasting trace. Uphold the code, it spans all things. Heavy the hand that wears the ring. For iron binds you to this land, from oceans deep to mountains grand. Make no advance at its expense, without a means for recompense. Into your care, our world for keeping. Wise the hand that wears the ring. Eternal bonds you forge today to heed the call without delay. Now stand and join your worthy peers, set forth towards unmapped frontiers. A life of service this will bring, noble the hand that wears the ring.
On August 29, 1907, the southern span of the not yet completed Quebec Bridge collapsed into the St. Lawrence River, killing 76 workers. The collapse of the bridge was due to human error, mostly on the part of the engineers who designed it. The arrogance, lack of humility, and disregard for integrity among the senior engineers who designed the bridge prevented them from addressing what the workers likely already knew, that the bridge was failing under its own weight. We recall the failure of the Quebec Bridge today to provide a fitting context for the obligation you are about to make to yourself, to your colleagues, and to society. All engineering decisions impact society. Arrogance and hubris can bring disaster to those who carry out our work and to those we serve. Many of the workers who perished in the collapse were iron workers from the Mohawk community at Gognawaga. Their story humanizes the tragic event and sheds light on the impact it had on their community. Warden Réjean Ainey will now read a passage written by members of the Mohawk community.
Located on the south shore of the island of Montreal, the Gunyangehaga, or Mohawk, at Guggenawage, hail from a warrior culture. As part of the Iroquois Confederacy, our very namesake, as the Haudenosaunee, or people of the Longhouse, references the unique structures our people constructed. Some have said that the Gunyangehaga were particularly suited for ironwork, as they were rumored to be born without a fear of heights. while a majestic legend. In actuality, Ganage Haga ironworkers simply pushed through their fear in order to focus on the job at hand. They persevered as they had throughout history, adapting to and overcoming the challenges that faced them. Despite their sense that something was wrong, Ganawage ironworkers were unaware of any engineering errors on the late afternoon of August 29, 1907. They had put their trust in the engineers who designed the bridge. Just minutes before their workday ended, they met their fate, leaving behind 24 widows and 52 orphans. The 33 men who perished that day impacted the whole population of Ganawage. In the wake of the tragedy, the women of Ganawage decided that the men could no longer concentrate their numbers on one job to avoid another tragedy like that from happening again. Ganawage ironworkers carried on, contributing to the cityscapes of New York City, Detroit, Boston, and others. For the Ganyange Haga, learning to adapt and adjust to the conditions befallen upon them is what made them so resilient. They understood that in the shadow of an obstacle, they must illuminate their own path forward, as do the engineers who build our world. Engineers must embrace their humility and learn from their mistakes. They must improve and adjust. They must work through their fears and focus on the task before them, all in the pursuit of creating structures that can endure and earn the trust of the populations they serve.
Engineering in the early 1900s was not yet regulated. Disasters like the Quebec Bridge precipitated the creation of licensing laws. But Professor Herbert Haltain from the University of Toronto wanted more for engineers. Haltain proposed to the 7 past presidents of the Engineering Institute of Canada that the profession should develop a means by which the young graduating engineer could commit to high ethical standards while developing a consciousness of the profession and its significance to society. It would also serve to remind senior engineers of their responsibility in welcoming and supporting those who followed in their footsteps. He believed this would help to create a kindred spirit among engineers. Professor Haltain wrote to Nobel Prize-winning writer Rudyard Kipling on behalf of the 7, asking for help. Kipling responded quickly with a ceremony, the obligation, and a description of the Iron Ring. The first ceremony was held in Montreal on April 25, 1925. In 1938, the Corporation of the 7 Wardens was established to ensure the ongoing legacy of the ceremony and to provide for the succession of the original 7. Over the years, minor changes were made to the ceremony. In 2022, the corporation set out to review the ceremony to reflect the significant changes in candidate demographics and societal views since the 1920s. The corporation recognized the limitations of the original ceremony and updated it to ensure its relevance in today's world. We wish to acknowledge the contributions made by the following writers: engineer and historian Dan Levert, members of the Kagnawake community, Joe Diom and Tom Deere, engineer and poet Titilope Sonuga, author and poet Marie-Célie Agnon, and engineer and retired astronaut and writer Chris Hadfield. The result, created for the ceremony's 100th anniversary in 2025, is the version that you will participate in today.
Wardens, may I speak?
Who are you?
I am Tasneem Lashmi, and speak for those with me.
What brings you to the camp?
The hope of aid, comfort, counsel, and strength before we go to our work.
And what is that work?
To design creatively, to supervise effectively, and to work diligently to ensure that communication between individuals is unrestricted and comprehensive, ultimately achieving perfection.
These are great words, but what do you know?
Nothing, except that we know nothing.
That is also the extent of our knowledge. It is a sound foundation. You are of our calling.
We have been so trained.
You are acquainted then with the strength of materials,
More or less.
and with the failure of design and the perversity of inanimate things?
Yes, and fully.
And have you yet arrived at or experienced the ultimate breaking strain?
Fortunately, no.
Thank goodness. Will the candidates and invited ring presenters please rise, if you're able? Lay hand on cold iron. Quiet, please. You are standing in a moment of profound privilege. The path ahead of you stretches forward into a future of your own making, where your works and ways can shape the world. The knowledge you have gained is a gift to be honored with your purest intentions. The work ahead leaves little room for arrogance or pride. It demands your sincerity and respect. You are now a part of an extraordinary history where remarkable success and catastrophic failure coexist. Honor this history with your remembrance. Honor this history with your humility. Out in the world, beyond the boundaries of applied theory, beyond the knowledge of science, is a delicate balance of heart and mind. Your knowing must not exist beyond feeling or beyond the appreciation of where the land, air, and sea touch everything that lives and breathes. Consider your place inside the rhythm of all things. An engineer works in collaboration with what the planet needs and co-creates with it, holding a deeper knowledge of what came before and what may come after. Hold on to your integrity like a compass, and at every turn, consider a future beyond now where your choices add color or shadows to the canvas of humanity. The obligation you will speak is not mere words on a page. It is a sacred promise to past and future generations to honor your profession with lifelong learning, selflessness, and tenacity. To your left and right are the beating hearts of others striving towards the same goal: to leave behind a world better than you met it. Lean on one another in times of trouble. Move humbly toward each challenge, and when failure comes, face it with honesty and fairness. Offer grace and embrace your lifelong duty to a standard of excellence. When the words have been spoken, when the ring is on your finger, when it reminds you of the promises made on cold iron today, look back upon this moment with fondness. Celebrate this beginning, even as you walk fearlessly into the future. Would the candidates, together with those who have previously been obligated, please repeat after me in unison, each giving your own name, your hand on this cold iron, and your heart well weighing your words. I, John Voss, In the presence of these, my mentors and my peers in my calling, pledge on my honor and cold iron that, to the best of my knowledge and power, I will not tolerate or pass or participate in the passing of bad workmanship or faulty material. In all that concerns my works as an engineer or in my dealings with my own conscience before the world. My time I will offer freely. My thought I will openly share. My care I will fully apply. And further, I will diligently strive against professional jealousy or the belittling of my working colleagues in any field of their labor. Sorry? For my assured failures and derelictions, I ask pardon beforehand of my mentors and my peers in my calling here assembled. Believing that in the hour of my temptations, weakness, and weariness, the memory of this, my obligation, and of the company before whom it was declared, may return to me to aid, comfort, and restraint. Would the wardens, the JSCs, please rise and say after me, to all these things you have subscribed upon honor and cold iron. Would the candidates and those previously obligated please say after me, and upon honor and cold iron, by these things I intend to abide. Loose hold. Please be seated. Technology lies at the very bedrock of civilization. It feeds us, brings us water and warmth. It clothes and houses us. It lights the darkness, allows us to learn and communicate, to travel and explore. Technology frees each of us from that which is burdensome, making our lives easier. Yet all of technology, and you, as engineers, now hold that legacy and responsibility in your hands. As you take up the relentless quest to avoid and overcome the difficulties inherent in furthering humanity and all life here on earth and beyond. We share one finite, exquisitely beautiful home planet. The engineers that have gone before you have found ways to span the complexities of distance and imagination and to deal with the heartbreaking perversity of inanimate things. They have enabled us to live in all corners of our world, to explore to the very bottom of the sea, and to soar to the edges of the air, and to begin to live in the eternity of the cosmos that lies beyond. Predecessors have made countless mistakes along the way. From not understanding the unknowns in building bridges and spaceships, in chemistry, electricity, data, and artificial intelligence, those that have gone before have proven their fallibility. remember their lessons. The people outside this room blithely count on you, not just to know your technical details, but far more importantly, to do what is right. To not merely rely on the proven numbers, but to seek collaboration, to value inventiveness, and to consider the key subtleties of the big picture. To not just look around, but to remember what has gone before and to look forward keenly. Engineering is a necessary foundation of society itself. The engineering that you will do from this day forward includes an obligation to all. As a reminder of your obligation, where we take you to be committed to your calling as we are, we give you cold iron. The ring is not smoothed off at the edges any more than the character of the young. It is hammered all around and not yet smoothed by the passage of time.
May it be a reminder to you in all your walks and ways.
For those of you seated in the orchestra level, when it is time to present you with your rings, a warden assigned to your section will direct you to the center of the stage, to the location indicated by the orange circles. From here, you'll be directed to form a short queue in front of each of the JSEs on the stage. After receiving your ring, please proceed towards the left or right-hand side of the stage, where the warden indicated by the green circles are located. From here, you will exit the stage using the stairs there and indicated in the diagram and return to your seat. After receiving your ring, please remain quiet while other candidates receive their rings. If you have an invited ring presenter with you, they should be seated with you. When it's your turn to come and receive your ring, they should come to the front. You should come to the front together with your presenter. The presenter will give you your ring in the presence of the JSC at the front. For those of you seated in the balcony, when it's time to present you with your rings, the warden assigned to your section will direct you to the left side of the stage, location indicated by the green circle. From here, you will be directed to form a queue in front of each of the JSCs on both sides of the stage. The wardens indicated in the green, blue, and orange circles will assist in directing you to a JSC that is available. After receiving your ring, please proceed toward the right side of the stage, indicated by the orange dot, and exit the stage using the stairs on the right. Again, after receiving your rings, please remain quiet while other candidates receive their ring. And again, if you have an invited ring presenter, they should be with you and join you on the stage to receive your ring. Let's begin. Quiet, please. Quiet, please. Quiet, please. Quiet, please. Just a short while longer. Quiet, please. We're almost there. Quiet, please. You can sit down. Please be patient a minute just while we wait for the balcony to get back to the balcony. We are the product of the many generations who have come before us, and we learn from their triumphs and their mistakes. We have learned of the fallibility of material things and of our own judgment. We are skilled in the foundational principles that will guide us, and we have learned that innovation and creativity will light the way forward. As we close the formal proceedings with 7 strokes on cold iron, I encourage you to reflect on the impact your works and ways will have on future generations. This marks the end of the 521st ceremony, the calling of an engineer, conducted by Camp 1. The first ceremony was held in Montreal on April 25th, 1925. Thus, this year marks the 101st anniversary of that ceremony. If your ring does not fit, there's information in your package that explains how to exchange it. You will find in your travels many engineers who have taken this obligation as you have today. Find a prominent place to hang your obligation certificate near where you do your work, and read it periodically to remind you of your obligation. Treasure it as much as your degree. On behalf of the camp wardens, thank you for your engagement and participation. I also thank our guest ring presenters for their attendance and interest as witnesses to this obligation ceremony. Following the completion of the ceremony, you're asked to proceed to room 101 outside the theater, just around the corner, for pictures. To the newly obligated members, we wish you great success in your career and on your upcoming exams. Would everyone please rise if you're able and join us in welcoming the newly obligated members with a big round of applause. That's it, we're done. Thank you. Yeah.